So, got the flywheel attached to the pressure plate and the clutch, and we are going to measure to the face here where the flywheel connects to the motor adapter. That's pretty much it. We have just over 19 millimeters. So since this was 23 millimeters, I got another 4 millimeters to get this thing to go on. At least 4 millimeters, I guess. Okay. After rediscovering that you rotate shaft, use your block of wood and then pound on it with the rubber hammer. I had done it with the metal hammer for a little bit, and it was started to move, so I went back to the rubber hammer so I didn't do, hopefully, any damage to the bearings. Here I have my caliper, taking a check on how far it's extending, and we are down to 14 millimeters. I've got 19 millimeters on the other side, so that gives me 14 to 19 gives me 5 millimeters of run out, which is reasonable. So I think it's time to put the flywheel back on and just tap things, make sure I can get them as close to zero run out as I can, and then we'll try and fit it together. Alright, things are back together. Motor, coupler, flywheel, clutch, and clutch plate, pressure plate. This is the run out. It looks pretty good to me. Hopefully it's good once we get things together. Now we couple it up to the transmission. So in a couple of minutes, adjusting the height of the transmission, we get it to about here. And I'm not sure why it won't go any further, but I have a little bit of experience with putting the motor modules together for wiki speed, and in that experience the transmission doesn't go, there's something wrong, something's in the way, and all of a sudden bang, it goes in. So I'm not going to squeeze it, I'm not going to try and force it. I'm just going to wiggle it back and forth for a little bit and see if I can get it to slide together. So I can't get the plates together. I'm not sure why, so I'm doing something else for a minute. I have a aluminum tube parallel to the face here, and then I have another aluminum tube on this side parallel to the furthest extent on the transmission, and the distance is 35 and a half. 35 and a half, and then the shaft is another 2 1/4. So 35 and a half plus 2 1/4 is 37 3/4. 37 3/4 from the fender, basically the fender on the driver's side, to the fender on the passenger side. A quick check in here says it's going to be tight or impossible. We get 37 inches here, not 37 3/4. So I would have to cut off 3/4 of an inch of the shaft, minus the little bit of gap that I've got between the transmission adapter plate and the transmission right now. Let's look at it a different way, maybe a way that I can measure a little easier. This motor mount here, or transmission mount, has a center line, and that center line is 32 and a half inches from the end of this motor. So 32 and a half inches, and now we check on the car. We stick the tape into the motor mount, and we have 33 and 1/4 inches on center. So 33 and a quarter. 33 and a quarter, and on here we had 32 and a half. So that means that I would have to take this tail shaft down to 3/4 of an inch. Right now it is 2 1/4, and I'd have to take it down to 3/4 of an inch, and then I would have no space whatsoever from side to side, which isn't my perfect scenario. But leaving 3/4 of an inch of the shaft, it's useful for something. I'm not sure what exactly, but I'm not giving up on the tail shaft completely.